things that make you
introduce you.
Oh, you got it. Okay, good.
You can stay up here.
All right.
It's my pleasure to tell you a little bit more about this character here. I love this guy. You know, he showed up at our doorstep, I guess, about a year ago, and Spanish. Back in 2003, I had the opportunity to walk the Camino de Santiago in Spain, 500-mile pilgrimage trail in northern Spain, and I got to meet the Spanish people, and I got to love the Spanish people. So it was really neat to me to have our own little Spaniard here, you know. And Louis moved here himself in 2006. And since that time he's been married, lived here with Angie, his wife, and their 2 children. And he told me a while back he was the graphic. I said, "What do you do, by the way?" You know, he says, "Oh, well, one of the things he's done is he was a graphic arts editor for the Virginia Pilot for 8 years. So he's no little. He's really, this is a real pro here, and is in his profession. And so anyway, without further ado, you've met him. The thing I love about him the most is his authenticity, his spontaneity, and his passion. Welcome.
Thank you. I guess that's pretty accurate. Yes, it's been a year since we've been coming regularly and experiencing the service without in its purest form. I remember when we started coming, and you know, I started feeling so good. I was like, what a better place to come! What a better place to come to feel stuff that it feels good. And I have a hard time explaining it. So, you know, whenever I look at this. The participating in the service, and the guide is like a script that we have here, and then it tells you the things that are going to be done. And I remember one of these group emails that we got while we were doing this. So we're getting some feedback from a person that came here, a doctor, and I think it was Dick that shared the email and said, this doctor says that this is the purest form of worship. And it's exactly what I was looking for. You know, when I reaches a certain time in our lives, we crave the truth. We kind of feel like there's certain things that are not matching. They're not, you know, we have that kind of unsettled being. And so I found that was probably the place. This was the place for me to come and do that routine Sunday worship to the universe, to the creation, or whatever is the path. And then another element that I found incredibly just spot on was every week somebody gets to talk here and tell their experience, their true, original, internal experience, and shares it with everybody with no judgment. There is no judgment. And this is a funny anecdote. I went to Vegas, I guess I go in January or February, Super Bowl, and it was this just massive weekend, and we're going to go there, and it's all partying and hanging out and gambling, and, you know, not my thing, but, you know, I tagged along. I love these friends. I love to, you know, say, well, let's see how I can experience this. And I was checking in the casino, and, you know, some people have to check in and put their I guess they have to do money stuff. And I was like, oh my God, you know, so much people are coming here, are going to lose so much money. I mean, you know, that's the part of the trick, you know, you're going to, and I was like, okay, but, you know, I'm not judging, I'm not, you know, I'm going to be here. And the lady in the register that was registering the people gave me a vibe that I was like, I've seen this before. You know, you're welcome here, you're going to be okay, we don't judge anybody, you're going to have fun. And I've never seen the level of non-judgment anywhere else but here. So it's kind of like a similar thing. It's like you go to Vegas and people are just like, yeah, you come here, have fun. And here, we just come here and do what we do here in a place of worship, which is to say, wow, the universe is great, we love the moment, we're here, there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing wrong with us. And that is the real, my dad calls it the fever of the convert. or the rush of the convert. I guess the Catholics, they have this element that it is, you get so passionate about something, you're just like, there's nothing wrong with me, because we live in this. I apologize if I scatter a little bit with my thoughts, and you guys can rein me in if you have any questions or something. But so I started feeling the things that were described all over the place and all over the spiritual practices. And I am a well-armored Catholic raised person, so I have all my wonderful ideas and paradigms and in closing that didn't really match with the way I am being. The way I am being, I felt so I was craving a service. I was craving a place to go to just say, to be in a good place, and then start the week, and then recycle. You go through the cycle of the week, and I guess that's how all the services go. They have a regular routine. When I started coming here, this last year wasn't the very first time. I had come here before, and I had, obviously with my armor of judgment and my, I would see things. I was like, I'm Catholic, so I am like, okay, nothing but Catholic. Everything else is like spooky and scary, and so I started coming here with that openness. And I started thinking, okay, well, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna test this feeling that I'm having, this unmatching of your heart. And I was like, okay, well, let's see what is behind all of this. Because every time I come here and we do the anthem or the song that we have over there, I feel like $1 million. And I was like, I want everybody to feel like this. But again, everybody's got their journey, and I got my own, and everybody's got their light that resonates with whatever works. So for me, the more I was learning about this place, the more I was understanding, oh my God, and you get to play and sound so good. Like, this is so comfy. So you're in this wonderful place, you're learning all these things. It's up to you to do whatever you want to do. Bruce would tell me, say, you want to play in the service? And I would say, sure, and what do you want me to play? And I would say, and he would say, whatever you want. And I was like, what do you mean, whatever I want? All the other services, in my mind, are very controlled. I happen to go, I always say that I go to 3 churches. One is this one. I come with such fervor and such an excitement that it's almost unheard in my life before. And then I play soccer on Sunday mornings. That's my other most important church. And then whenever I cannot do any of those 2 things, I go to the Catholic church down the street by my house. Because in the end, they talk about Jesus. And Jesus was amazing. So, and there's so much to it that I was like, okay, cool. I crave this. I want to go somewhere. Where can I go? So I started coming here. I took the veil. The veil is lifting. That image that everybody, that we all have this. We all have this story that kind of interprets what we feel in our hearts. So when the story or the ego, I'll go to that somewhere else. Anyway, I started discovering all these great things, like the Seven Terrace. I was like, what is that painting? What? Of course, I've never been to the area. I am not a spiritual scholar. I have done anything other than graphic design and being a person. So I learned, oh wow, and I look and we pray for people, and then at the end of the show, for me it's like at the end of the show, everybody gets together. There's the Om chant in the middle, and we put everybody's good giving energy, which is just feeling good, in the middle, praying for these. Whatever we're praying for, because guess what? Of course, in this year of learning all these things, I was like, prayer works. So of course I go online. Hey, it does. There is a scientist that ran a study, and it's done. It's not like new, and we're like, oh yeah, no. It is done. It is true. So and it feels good to you, and it feels good to you to give, and that's all you need to do. I guess during that time that I was learning, and I met with Bruce, and I was like, Bruce, I don't know what to do. I learned all these, the love energy and the fear energy, and how we can choose those two things, but I don't know what to do with it. And I would tell him, I said, well, and Bruce told me this, he said, it's all about being in the moment. And I was like, what? Yeah, it's all about being. Have you read Eckhart Tolle? And I was like, no. And I said, well, here you go. And I was like, oh, wow. So that for me was the entry door that kind of connected all these things. Was like, there's nothing wrong. And this moment is the most simple place where I can reach that energy. The energy of feeling good. The energy of joy. Excitement. I had learned all those. Angie and I went last year to Sedona, and we went there to a retreat, and it was a wonderful experience that kind of let us know that there was nothing wrong with us and that we were okay. And it's like, okay, you go all the way to Sedona, and then you come back to realize that there's nothing wrong with you and you're okay in the moment. So for me, it's like such a long journey to go there. But I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I guess I'm just going to go with the flow. I was like, oh, that's nothing more hippie than that. In my mind, I was like, but I am a self-described hippie. I describe myself as spiritually promiscuous. I love it's just so, to the point that it is almost like, you hear about the state of being in, grace or spirit, or feeling, that, you're feeling the chills or whatever it is. To the point that I'm like, okay, I'm going to practice with everything that I see, take out all that veil, and then I'm going to see how it feels. To the point that I found myself crying to songs on the radio, because I was like, okay, how can I peel my fear out of all of this that I'm receiving? And then you end up connecting with anything. It's almost like you're peeling your fear, you're peeling your thoughts, you're peeling your judgment. And we battle with the judgment, and we're like, oh my God, the judgment. Oh, ugh. It's almost like you're entrapped, and then free, entrapped, and free, entrapped. And I'm like, well, but I want to be in the good side, not in the struggling side. But you cannot be in the good side if you're not struggling. Because the struggling for me was, I started understanding it. It's like, I go up and down, up, and we all go like that, I guess. I'm not saying anything new here. The only thing new is that is coming out of my mouth and how I interpret it. So I'm not claiming any credit for anything because it's all the same. It's all the same juice. Anyway, so I peel. I'll go back, and then we'll see how I follow this and kind of make this condense. But I look at this, the center meditation, the chakras, the connection, the glands. I start doing all my research, all my what I call half-as YouTube research, where I would just go type something and I would be like, oh, hi. To the point that I started feeling in this year that I had this confirmation bias. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It is a thing that we all have, where everything plays to our melody, to ourselves, or to our story, or you read an article in politics, and then you start connecting it and making it, transforming it, so it makes sense to you. But in my mind, I was like, I think I'm feeling that, but with this. And where could I go and talk about this? And what am I going to do about this? And how I interpret life? What is what makes me feel excited? I come here, I start looking at everything without the veil, start enjoying the energy, start enjoying the temperature, the light, the music. What a service. You get together, you sing, everybody feels like $1 million, and then everybody meditates, and then we get ready to listen to somebody speaking. In this case, it's me. But you come here and you have people, you're surrounded by people with experiences, with people with people's struggle. And I was like, well, it's a struggle. We don't want to have a struggle, but if we don't have a struggle, what do we do? And then I started thinking about the energy and friction, and I started thinking about metaphysics, which I'm not familiar with it, but I'm familiar with physics. And I know when things rub, there is energy, and if there's no friction, then there is nothing. There's no light. There's nothing. It's just static, stillness. Oh, so it's stillness. But if I stay still, but I never stay still because I'm always breathing, and I'm always beating. My heart is always beating, so where do I find that state? And it's all the time, everywhere. All the time. It's almost like you're walking down and it's like, there's nothing wrong with us, we're good. You know, or there's nothing wrong with me. And you have that peace going through you. I look at the symbol of the church and I was like, wow, that's a complex visual. I got to figure out what it is, you know, and so I take the veil out of my thinking, my pre-thinking, my preloaded flavors that are already stored in my brain, and I look. Okay. So the heavenly light, the heavenly energy, the earthly energy. Then we have the spiritual part of doing the light. Then we have the abundance, the health, and the creative part, and then the inner light that everybody does have, no matter where they come from. So I'm not explaining this just because I know that most of you know. And then we have this other wonderful painting and all these wonderful things that are always speak to the need for the urge, the need that we have for feeling good. And that goes to, so I was going to talk about the slower we live, the happier we are. Now that I got all my bio and where I come from and all that stuff behind. From when I started reading and studying, I was understanding that was what made me feel good, being present, being in the moment. Jesus explains it like from every angle, from every, you know, it's almost kind of obvious, but then again we feel like we're sinners. There's like we have a preloaded sin characteristic that we spend all our lives thinking, no, doesn't belong to me, I don't have to have it. And we read the Bible, the man was born with the original sin, and I was like, I'm not that bad. I don't think I'm like that bad. I don't have that kind of tag of me like, you are a sinner. And then I started studying about it. I was like, well, if that is part of me and everything is part of me and I'm one with the universe, which I have felt whenever you meditate. I mean, ask anybody that spends 10 minutes quiet looking at a flower or a plant, and I'll tell you like 99% of the people are going to feel better immediately. Right after. There is science behind it now. Now we have the science, but it's almost like an easy trick. So you end up living in a place where everywhere you're struggling, you can always go back to you. Go back to your physical sensations, go back to your whatever it is that your body is telling you. Over this year, I've been writing a lot of thoughts, and there was one that I felt very proud to write, and it was like, life is the signal, and your body is the antenna. If you tune to life, it will reward. It always does. But we always are like, yeah, but I want to be somewhere. I want to be, we're always creating this distance. That's what I realized that I was creating with myself when I was needing to not feel so crappy. I am separating myself from this moment because I'm living somewhere else in a fantasy. And again, now I learn. I mean, it's almost like I was a blank canvas. But the past and the future, they're not real. This is what is real. Everything else is a fabrication. We learn, and that is what it is. But here is the only thing we have. In any moment, anybody, anytime, is being here. So the hardest part for all of this is to practice it. The hardest part that we find all the time is to, how do we put this in practice? How can I improve the world? I want to save the world. I want to help people. I'm born with that anthropological need. It's in my DNA that I connect, that I crave, that I suffer, that I learn. It's all within me. And how do I practice? And every time I practice this, obviously I'm only talking about my experience. I didn't help anybody, telling anybody anything or anything. Was always comes a but. But it should be the other way. It's somewhere else. It's outside. There's nothing that I can do now. But there is always something that you can do now. Always. Connect. That is how are you, how we are wired. We're communication animals. And when you read about history, you're like, how do we connect? How do we connect? By me saying my piece, and then they saying their piece, and then taking from their piece the stuff that I'm judging, and not diving into the real spirit of the message of the people's being. So everywhere there's an opportunity to connect. We come here, and it's great, it's wonderful. We meditate or pray or run or do a hobby where we're all focused on that little thing, or we like to do Reiki, we like to anything that makes us feel excited, right? And here, the best part of it is that you get to nurture that. You get to learn and practice every week, if you take it seriously, what you can practice. So how can we change? Well, the world's so bad, we're in such trouble, everybody's distanced from each other, and then you're like, we cannot be the only ones struggling in history with this. And there's all these spiritual, I mean, we got them here. We got Jesus, I'm sure we have the Buddha over there maybe. Yeah, and look, we have this wonderful altar with all the main religions, and so they're all in the same wall. There is no, that's not the way it kind of goes with me. I don't like that stuff. You see how they treat women. You start going into places where you're separating yourself from the essence of everything, and then you're lost. At least I was lost. And when I say you, I mean I, because I can only speak for myself. By the way, another amazing, I felt myself this year coming here, cooking for the potluck like it was my, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to church, I'm cooking, I want to make sure, you're like, okay, I got to be in presence. The main ingredient is love. My mom would say, we had people here explaining that if you pray baking cookies and you gave them to inmates in prison, that is going to do something, and we have evidence of that. So what other place? I cannot think of. I have not traveled all that much, but what other place where you're going to find a place where you have like, oh, and that works. Hey, you bake cookies, you pray, they're good for you by making them, because you get your body into a wonderful state of tranquility and peace and stillness, and then you give, which is the other thing. If you don't give, you keep it and you clog, and then it means nothing. And then you don't have anywhere to read, anywhere to get. You don't have any light. You don't have any lightning post. You don't know where to go. So what I like to practice is, I guess it's called mindfulness. It's called living in the moment. It could be called, I'm sure you guys know way more words for this than I do. But I realized that it worked. That it worked all the time, including the times that are less exciting for our life, when we get upset or when something doesn't go our way. So I've been thinking, and I like thinking about not thinking. I guess that's the point. We internalize reality without. I had become disconnected with my body. Although I was talking and I was being in places, my mind, I was somewhere else. We've all experienced this. We've all expressed this. So I kept going back and forth, going back and getting out. And I was like, well, but how? I just want to be in the moment all the time. And then when I would be out of the moment, I would be like, but you're not in the moment, And it's like, I guess I am not being in the moment. So I'm understanding that if I allow that to happen, then I can go back, because that is what is happening, that I am distracted. So how I pieced all those things together, and I guess, it takes me, I wonder a lot, but light, the concept of light, we have all these interpretations about light and knowing and God and the universe, and it's almost like a cocktail. So I'll wrap it up. Light is knowledge. Light is, if you start thinking about it, if you start really meditating about darkness and light, there would not be need for light if there was no darkness. Why I find this place the best place for me, I haven't toured everywhere, and obviously it's been super hard to get into this street for the last year or two, is we crave authenticity. We crave truth. We want the truth, always. To the point that we're testing it all the time. That's not true. Yes, it's true. It is true. It's high, low, true. It's almost like the commercial says, free. Well, it's like true, no, true. Anyway, we crave that authenticity. We have something in us, a light that craves attention. When we dismiss it, when we don't nurture, and I say we, and I mean I, because that's the only one I can speak about. We don't see. And how do we see? By shedding light. And how is light? Do I have a flashlight? Do I have a candle? We have interpretations here for what a light can look like. But light is attention. I had no idea. It's my awareness. Where my awareness go? Where do I go? What do I light up? What do I want to see? If I don't have the light, I won't see the darkness. I won't see the shadows. Darkness is a little loaded content in my mind, loaded word as far as meaning, and that's another chaos where we live right now, where everything is words and interpretation, and we're addicted to that reaction, and then it's all an emotional stock market where we all need somebody, and everybody's in debt. Oh, but no, but I am. You're always expecting somebody to do something for you, or you do something for somebody and expecting something from them. And it's almost like a bankrupt system, because you're always in debt. You're always in debt. So why I come here, I am curious about the truth. Who am I to say that one angle is better than the other? If I want to get the full picture, I might as well look from every light angle. And that is a perfect example. We have a mirror right there in the middle. We have all these wonderful mini altars with the symbols. You can show it there. And so it's almost like, do you want to come to a place where you want to have a full picture of an spiritual experience? I think this is the place for me. And I'm hoping that people get acquainted with this place, because you can do anything with it. They're very open. We are very laid back and relaxed, and everybody is welcome. If I think about it, I went one day. I was in a dark moment, and I wrap it up. And I went to church. I went to the Catholic church. Everybody's welcome. You work there. You're like, okay, you get all this Catholic experience of like, when my husband was singing. In my mind, I could only see authenticity in certain places. But I go there. Everybody's welcome. I say, okay, I'll go in there. Everybody's welcome. I'm Catholic raised, And as I come out and I talk to the one of the guys, the pastors or the big, I don't know the names, but anyway, an important guy that was on the altar. He said, well, where's your wife? And I said, is that going to be an obstacle? And he said, well, so he's putting his agenda behind my interaction with him, which is about like, Jesus was great, it's amazing, he's been telling it all along, all these things are great. And it was all about that judgment. So I have a hard time going there. I go there because I like to test that friction. And I think from that friction, something comes that I can read and learn. So thank you for indulging me with your attention. I feel very, very fortunate. And I'm glad it's over.